Welcome to Forbidden Transformation. My name is Karen Holton, and I'm co-hosting from Alberta, Canada. And my co-host is Chris Matthew of Forbidden Knowledge News, who is in Colorado, USA. And our mission is to support and educate the people of Earth and to assist them to evolve and experience ET contact for themselves. And in this way, we help to create and participate in the new positive timeline. In future episodes, we plan to offer more about our ET experiences. We'll have guests with common experiences and goals, and more about the Quantum Health Transformation Program and any breaking news as it occurs. And today, Chris and I are going to share our latest contact experiences with you. But before we start, hey, Chris, how's it going?
Hey, Karen, thanks so much. It's going pretty good. As good as can be expected during these insane times that we're in. But yeah, everything is coming along, and we're doing good here in cold, snowy Colorado. How's everything over there for you guys?
As far as cold, yeah, we had unseasonably warm weather for a while, and now it's back to 20 below with another 10 for the wind chill factor. So sometimes it's,
Yeah, you got us beat, definitely.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. But other days, like today, it's only -5. And the funny thing is when you get acclimatized to -20, -5 just feels like a summer day. It's interesting how it works.
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to get used to the cold and snowy weather here after being in hot and muggy Louisiana most of my life.
It'll take a couple of years, but it will happen. And pretty soon the people that live here, that were born here and live here all their lives, even in 30, 40 below, they're out in hoodies and running shoes. I'm going,
Yeah,
are you kidding?
Corey goes out in shorts and I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I believe it. So you said the restrictions are actually a little easing up there. Is that right?
It appears to be. I don't know if it's a temporary thing, but especially in this blue state that I'm in, it's kind of strange. They're opening up restaurants for dining again. Of course, the mask thing is major mandatory, but they're opening up restaurants again for dining. I think they're even going to have some concert venues open soon, which is going to be amazing.
Wow.
I mean, so we'll see what happens into the summer. I think that's when things they say should be really opening up, but I don't know. A lot of places in the States are still locked down. I mean, California is terrible, but I guess it just depends on each state's leadership, what they're doing. I really dislike our own governor, but I'm glad that he is actually opening some things up and not, destroying our economy even further. But yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag here in the States. We're okay here. It's not as bad as it was, kind of easing up, giving you a little sense of maybe breathing room. But I have a sense that it's not going to last long. But hopefully it will. We'll see. How's it? We're talking earlier. I know how it is for you in Canada, but maybe give the audience a little sense of how different it is there and the draconian measures they're taking. It's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, it really is. Canada has turned into a police state. Now, if you're someone who is mainstream and you only watch mainstream news, you won't be hearing about any of this. But Rebel News has done a fantastic job of reporting what's really going on. So there's a whole bunch of things, like, for instance, each province has mask exemptions, and it clearly states that we don't have to provide proof of our exemption. Meanwhile, no business will let you in unless you are wearing a mask. And they immediately call the police. They're treating people very badly. They're being arrested. Some people are being thrown down, dogpiled by up to 5 big burly officers, handcuffed, hauled off. They're giving all kinds of fines for thousands and thousands of dollars. And I'm just going to mention Rebel News does have fightthefines.com in Canada. If you're Canadian and you've gotten a fine, don't pay it. They will fight it for you they will hire a lawyer to fight it for you in the crowdfunding for that. But besides that, Trudeau came out and made an announcement that anyone returning to Canada had to stay in one of his COVID hotels for at least 3 days awaiting test results. So they tell everyone they have to be tested before they can come back into Canada with a negative test response. But once they get here, they're not accepting them. And they're not allowing them to do any of the fast testing. They have to do the old school thing up the nose, PCR testing, the stuff that is so faulty. And they're making people stay in these hotels, and they're charging them over $2,000 for 3 night stay. And they're also they're not allowed to leave. They're not allowed to leave their rooms. They're not allowed to order food from restaurants. All they get are these really disgusting basic meals dropped off by the Red Cross. Just horrible. And so people are being illegally detained at the airport, forced into vans, forced into these hotels, not allowed to tell anyone where they are. People don't even know where their loved ones are. They're just disappearing from the airports. It's absolutely horrible. And meanwhile, the politicians can do what they want. They're flying all over, going on exotic vacations. They're exempt. All the professional sports people are exempt. All the rich people are exempt. This is what they're doing to the common people. But even beyond that, now they're recommending even 3 or 4 masks to be worn at any one time. Well, I can barely breathe in one. There's no way I'm going to wear more than one. I actually have a mask exemption, and I can't get any food if I use it. So I'm really having a very difficult time getting the basics of necessities. So between that and all the police brutality, and the other thing that's happened, and this has been well documented, is they've tried to find out who's making the rules, who's enforcing them, who's coming up with this stuff, why? And guess what? They're not talking to anybody. They won't tell they just pass you to another politician or another office who says they can't tell you anything, that passes you on, and you just go through the circuit. So there's zero accountability. There's zero explanation. But what's happening now is Canadians are really getting pissed off, really pissed off. And what anger does is it gives you that beautiful power to go out and bring about change. So I just want to mention one other thing they're doing is that people who protest, which is legal in Canada, peaceful protesting, they're taking pictures of everybody. Even if you're wearing a mask, they still take your picture, and they have a way of finding out who we are and where we live. And then up to 2 weeks later, they're dropping off these $1,000 or $2,000 or $800 tickets. So it's just insane. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, I didn't want to make the whole show about that. It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, and the snitches, that's the other thing.
Your freedoms.
This is just like World War II. Everybody can snitch. And then when you snitch on somebody, they believe you without any proof. And they go out and they ticket and arrest according to what the snitch says without any proof. So this is a police state now in Canada.
That's insane.
Yeah. So
I'm baffled by that. Hopefully things will get better. I mean, we got to have more people wake up. That's the only thing. And actually, make their voices heard and get angry, like you said.
Yeah.
I think that's
and later on in my presentation today, I actually do have some feedback about all this from my contacts. So we'll get into that a little bit. But first, Chris, do you have announcements for us today?
Yes. Thank you again, Karen, for hosting this show and having me co-host. A lot's happened since our last show, some good, some bad. But like we're just saying, we've reached an extremely critical time when it comes to our future and sovereignty. It's more important now than ever to be mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually prepared for the future. And you got to be healthy. I think that's one of the number one things right now, because your health, I mean, that's one thing that they can't take from you unless you let them, which I let them take my health away from me for years. Many of us already are, by the food and water, even the air. One of the ways I took back my health was I started taking C60 Purple Power every day. as well as changed my diet and started exercising more, of course. But I feel great. I mean, I've lost a lot of weight. I have more energy. I feel better than I felt in years. I attribute so much of that to C60. You can click the link in the description or visit c60purplepower.com to learn more. If the link doesn't work, you can use coupon code knowledge10 and you'll get 10% off your order plus free shipping. I don't go a day without the stuff, and I swear by it. I feel I haven't gotten sick, no aches and pains. I feel younger. It's really an amazing product that you need to check out for yourself and learn more. Also, you can subscribe to Forbidden Knowledge News. We're on YouTube and all the popular podcast platforms. Our website is forbiddenknowledge.news. We also have a brand new show called Beyond Classified. It's exclusively on Rockfin. Rockfin is an awesome new uncensored platform for free thinking content creators and independent media. There are lots of amazing content creators there with us. We're in the company of people like Charlie Robinson, Rex Bear from Leak Project, Sam Tripoli, Jimmy Dore, many more. If you go there, you can check out all the amazing content for free and decide whether you want to sign up for our free premium content, which it's mind blowing. The premium content on there, not just only ours, but from the other content creators, they're putting out some great stuff on there, and you really should check it out. Finally, you can get pre-sale tickets to Forbidden Knowledge NewsCon 2021. It's going to be April 2nd, 3rd, and 4th this year. We're going to have 12 amazing presenters again, including Karen Holton. You can get those tickets for only $29.99 at our website, forbiddenknowledge.news. Also, if you become a premium Rockfin member, you're going to get access to last year's entire conference for free. It is on our channel. It is posted for free if you're a premium member. Um, it's also among many other exclusive presentations that you won't find on YouTube or anywhere else because they are censoring it on those platforms. So all the information that you used to hear from us on YouTube that is now considered too controversial or has been deleted. You talk about the death jab a little bit, you get deleted. Well, we talk about it a lot. And we are on Rockfin. So go ahead and check that out. Those links are in the description. And yeah, other than that, we can talk about Forbidden Knowledge NewsCon for a minute. You're going to be one of the presenters. You were there last year. Last year was turned out amazing. This year, I just want to go over the presenters we're going to have. We have Jim Willis, Preston Dennett, Ross Ben, Jared Murphy, Pierre Sabak, Karen Holton, Micah Dank, Corey Hughes, Sonia Barrett, Dean Henderson, Deborah Tavares, and Leo Zagami. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be, again, online. If you sign up, you're going to get a link before the conference to Periscope, where we will be streaming all the presentations. It's going to be interactive, so you will be able to ask questions as we go. We're going to have a few roundtable discussions, so you really don't want to miss that. Just go to forbiddenknowledge.news, and you can get your tickets now. And that's my announcements.
Wonderful, Chris. I just want to tell you, I'm really excited. I'm really honored that that I'm going to be a part of the conference again this year. For those of you that don't know, I am putting my experiences of the Intergalactic Resettlement Program into a book. And the book is going to have tons of information that's never been heard anywhere before. And so I'm taking excerpts from the book to do my presentation, and the subject is love, sex, and politics in outer space. So I'm really looking forward to taking your questions and having some discussion with the viewers during the presentation. It's going to be great. And this is a subject that really very few people actually touch upon. So I'm pretty excited to be presenting it. So everybody, get your tickets. Get them early.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So I just want to remind people that this is still a fairly new show. So please invite your friends, share with your friends and your family. Tell people about this show, especially if they're interested in, ET experiences and how that ties into spirituality. And to participate today, just put your comments, your questions or anything you want to talk about in the comment section while we're live streaming, and then we can take your questions today. I'm also really excited to announce that I'm also have a new show called Convergence. And you can join me as I go live on People for People Radio every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time, 3 o'clock Eastern, or 8 o'clock in the UK. Excuse me. You can also book some time from my website for a private session called Intuitive Time with Karen and Chris. So it doesn't matter whether you've had paranormal experiences or ET experiences, or if you haven't and you wish that you had, here's your chance to work with Chris and I. Of course, we'll use Zoom or we'll use Skype, depending on what's best for you. And I also offer one-on-one ET contact support and spiritual support for people who have had experiences with extraterrestrials or ultra-terrestrials or just beings that obviously are not from this world. And in addition to that, if you would like to have experiences, if you'd like to have contact with the higher realms, or if you just want to create your own spiritual environment that helps you to get in touch with your guides, we can help with that. And so if you've tried mainstream or alternative supports and you're still feeling confused or discouraged by your experiences, you can feel free to contact us. And if you use coupon code knowledge10, you receive 10% off all three of those services. And as usual, I want to bring up my beautiful Zendomes orgone generators, which are for sale from my website. Now, we've stopped making them for a number of reasons that I'm not going to go into today, but we still have plenty of stock. But if there are some items that you've been looking forward to purchase, I recommend that you get them while they're still available. I still have quite a bit available, so it's not like there's none left and you better get out there tomorrow. But please do think about getting the ones that you want soon so that you're not disappointed. And then again, as Chris mentioned, all the links will be in the description below the show. Oh, and that's the other new thing is we now have a new intro that we're going to add to our show. So watch the replay of this, check out our new intro and tell us what you think of it. And that's about it for announcements. So now, oh my goodness, Chris, I have heard from 3 different people this week who told me they've just had significant contact or downloads from ET. So I thought, let's start off with you. Maybe you could refresh our memory, or for those that are just joining us, maybe just give an overview of your previous 3 contact experiences. And then please do tell us about the latest experience.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, let's see. Where can I start with this? This was last year. I think it all started during the summertime. I was going through a difficult breakup, a bad relationship, and just a difficult time in general. And I had just started to kind of start getting myself in shape, getting healthier. And I had just started taking C60 a few months before, actually, too. So that's kind of interesting. But I had my first UFO sighting, which I really couldn't um, explain what it was I saw in the sky. It looked like 3 flames in a triangular formation, and just kind of disappeared. So that was interesting. I didn't, say that it was 100% off planet, experience, but it was an interesting thing to witness. And then let's see, it was a few days later, just a few days later, maybe a week. I had been practicing meditation, and I couldn't get past a certain point because I was kind of afraid to. So I decided to lose the fear and just go as deep as I could with my meditation. Um, to kind of sum it up, I ended up making contact with what I can only describe as celestial, angelic being. Um, said his name was Laird, and I had the most extraordinary feelings of love from this being, unearthly loves, feelings that I've never felt before coming from anyone. I thought I loved my parents, and it's just a feeling that I've never felt before. It was very extraordinary. And we had psychic communication for, I guess, was a little over an hour, maybe more, where I was communicating with this being psychically. It was I would ask it a question, I'd receive the answer before my question was even finished, and it enlightened me about a lot about myself and what's happening in the world right now and where I fit into that and where we all kind of fit in. And just amazing information came out of it, downloads. I ended up calling Karen that night, speaking with her about it. Um, and then what followed was 2 more days of contact with the same being. The second day was even more extraordinary, revealed things about my past, and then actually had, I guess you could say, it was a trip on a ship. But I was just through meditation, it was my consciousness. I was on board a massive ship with etheric beings that were sending this massive amount of love to me, um, saying that I was, part of their space family, basically, and that everyone can get in touch with these beings. Everyone has these guardians with them at all times, and that the particular one that I was speaking with was part of a group that goes around the galaxy to kind of enlighten people to what he called Christ consciousness whenever they're ready, which is not a religious term in any way. It's just, I guess, a state of mind, a state of being, of love, basically. And they proceeded to tell me how our planet is intentionally, they're trying to extinguish love and empathy from the planet, and we need to bring that back at all costs. That's the most important thing, and just make people aware of what's happening, like we've been doing, and keep doing that. But just kind of try to get as many people to join in and using their own talents and abilities and any information that they have to pitch it in now, because now's the time. um, Third experience was the same beings. It was it was a final experience for a while. After this third experience, I didn't have any until last week. So it was this one. I was kind of in pain from being sick. I had eaten something that didn't agree with me. I have stomach problems from the past. And I basically asked these beings, I was in pain, extreme pain, and I asked these beings to help me and heal me, basically. And uh, the information I got was basically I can do that for myself. But as soon as I felt that feeling of love from these beings, my stomach pains were immediately gone. Everything was gone. And it was an extraordinary experience. And that kind of gave me the knowing that the experience was real. And, they told me that I could contact them at any time I needed, and that anybody can whenever they're ready. And I think the key was me being ready and kind of asking for the experience to happen. Um, so that was my first major experiences. Since then, I've had some downloads. I find that I'm a lot more intuitive than I used to be after that first experience. The most recent experience was last week. I was kind of going through another tough time. Well, recently moved out here to Colorado. There's tons of expenses and things to stress about when we're starting a new business, of course, and which is what we're doing. We've incorporated since we've been out here. We're trying to get Forbidden Knowledge News as a stable source of income, and it can get stressful. But one night I decided to do a little meditation, and I asked for the beings to show up. It was kind of like a prayer. Um, During the meditation, I just kind of asked for the beings that I spoke with last time to come to me, and just give me some comfort or advice or whatever they can. And it happened immediately. I was within a few minutes. I felt that feeling of love and multiple beings surrounding me. Um, and it was more of just a knowing that I could contact them at any time if I really needed them, and they were there. And it was a beautiful feeling. Um, they proceeded to tell me, I think the most important message about this final experience was they told me that it's very important that everyone knows that they exist and that we can contact them. They said that the world's in a transition period right now where a lot of people are on the brink of believing. A lot of people are just on the edge of wanting to discover this and find this out for themselves and actually have the experience for themselves. Because in our ancient past, this was normal. This was a normal thing. They would go and pray and communicate with these beings and get inspiration. I mean, basically, everything that has modernized humans when it comes to, spirituality and technology, these are all, I believe, passed on through celestial contact, especially in our very ancient past, whenever we first started to formulate these ideas of spirituality and what we can do, and that whether good or bad, we would contact entities. Like I said, there were probably bad entities giving us some bad information, along with these celestial beings. But I have a sense of knowing that the beings I contacted were good. It's just the overwhelming feeling of love and the message behind it. There was not one misleading or strange thing coming from these beings. It was all it was all the same message. It was, and the overwhelming feeling of love is the main thing that I can't shake that feeling. It was after it was over, it was like I missed it immediately. I was like, oh man, I want that feeling back. That was amazing. But the main message was that everyone can contact them. Everyone has these beings near them or with them at all times, whether you want to call them angels, spirit guides. They're both. I mean, these beings could be a mix of ancestors and extraterrestrials and actual, angelic beings. It's if I wouldn't have said that last year because hadn't had an experience and I didn't have the sense of knowing, and it still sounds crazy to me when I say it, but it's real. I know it's real because I've experienced it myself, and everyone can. I still don't understand everything behind it. There is it, it's really hard to break down the way that this contact works and the layers of reality that we exist in, because I think that we're in multi-layered reality, that there are many dimensions and densities and types of beings that we can come into contact. But I think if we enter the experience with love and a true intention, good intention of meeting these beings of light and good beings, that they'll come. um, I'm sure that there's plenty of people who make malevolent contact intentionally with these beings just to get their own power or whatever they seek from these entities. But if you're good and you seek something good from them, I think that only good can come from it. And that was basically my most recent experience, and it helped me get through another tough time, and it really solidified everything. And it's gonna you know pushed me to get this message out that if we really want to, we can contact these beings. And I think that we should, because I think that they have a lot to offer us, and I think they have a lot to teach us about ourselves. And moving into the future, I really think it's dependent on you know us kind of spiritually awakening our own survival. I think that's the only way we're going to get through this is if we actually wake up, lose the fear of doing this, because this is the end game, and I think this is the hidden realm that we need to tap into to fight off these forces. I think it's up to us to do it though, but they're there to help, and that was the message.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so happy that's happening for you. Do you mind if I make a comment?
Of course.
Okay. In my university training as an addiction counselor, this ties in. We learned that people who have problems with addictions, which is all of us, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol to be addictive. Is from problems of attachment. The construct we're born into is very poor at helping us to form stable attachments within families and to the different supports that we need. And then on top of that, we lack authenticity because if we are who we really are, we won't get the love that we need to survive. So what's really interesting is, and where I'm going with this, Chris, is that our guides are very real and we can form attachments with them and we will never be let down. So the thing we're lacking in our society that's preventing us from full maturity and ultimate health and peace and loving connections, and that stems out right into a peaceful, healthy economy, everything can be, in my opinion, can be helped greatly by reaching out to our guides. And I've also had experiences that confirm that our guides can be ET, they can be extraterrestrial, they can be interdimensional, they can be ultra dimensionals, they can be from the fairy realms, they can be our ancestors, they can be learned people from the past that come to the fore. We can have a soul team with anyone we want. We just have to ask. And I know that we're taught that's fantasy or delusion, but we can't all be having the same delusion. That's not possible. And so the thing is that I'm really, really happy that you got that message that we need to reach out and trust them and ask for proof and ask for validation and start forming these attachments with beings who will never, ever let us down. And my experience is very similar to yours, where I knew the beings were good because of the incredible love. And it's not just an emotion, it's not just a euphoria. It's much deeper and broader than that, and something that I actually have not experienced that kind of love anywhere else while I've been on Earth at this time. So before I get into just a quick recap of my experiences, I just want to know if you want to make any comments around any of that, and if that rings true for you, Chris.
It definitely rings true. And I wanted to also mention an experience that I had before the positive contact experience. This was about 2 weeks ago when I was kind of in a negative state of mind, and I went to meditate. I actually believe I made contact with some sort of feminine earth spirit, or some sort of earth guardian that was very angry. I could feel the feminine aspect of it, but I got an image of a tree, like a tree spirit or something like that in my mind. And it was feminine. It was speaking to me. It was telling me how much we fucked up. It was telling me that the masculine is destroying the planet, that we need to kind of free the divine feminine. And I just sensed this major anger from this earthly kind of guardian spirit. I don't know if it was Gaia itself. It was very powerful, but I sensed the anger from this being, though. It was,
Mm-hmm.
it was ready for us to do something, or it will. That's the kind of sense that I got from this. So that was a very interesting experience as well.
Oh, sure is. I mean, yeah, Mother Earth is pissed. And we're seeing sinkholes and earthquakes, and we're having all kinds of things. So I know a certain amount of that may be from weather manipulation, but a lot of that is her response. She is pissed. And that's the other kind of side of this, is we need to connect with our Mother Earth, because we're not just these beings that are renting space here on the earth. That's not how it works. We are an integral component of our mother. So are the animals and the trees and the bugs and the grass and everything. And I can remember the first time I ever made contact with the same, I'm not saying it's identical, but it may be the same energy, Chris. I was actually out in at the beach, and I was part of a hand drumming group. We were drumming in the coming of the moon, the rising of the moon and the setting of the sun that night. And it was on a full moon night. And I was looking into the fire, and I heard within myself a spirit very similar to what you're describing. And I felt it was Mother Earth calling me to come back to her, because I had left her. I'd gone into academia, and I'd gone into this construct as a very masculine. We use the masculine part of our brain, and it overdoes that part. Asked me to come back. And I said, yes, I want to be a part of you. And at that moment, a rainbow, a huge full arc rainbow appeared out over the water. Some people saw one rainbow, some people saw two. I saw three rainbows, and it blew me away. I guess, should I just get on to a little bit of summary about some of my ET experiences, Chris?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that actually happened in between these two other experiences I'm just going to briefly talk about. One was an experience with angels, and I was in a very, very, very bad state emotionally. I was very low energy because I was heavily grieving. My children had gone to stay with their father, and he then made it impossible for me to see them, and it just broke my heart. I was in such intense grieving. And I think the way it works is our intention sets our frequency, and our frequency kind of sets what we are in contact with. And I picked up the energy of a man who had lived in the house before me, who had killed himself. And I was obsessed with offing myself the same way he did it. Now, I didn't know that at the time. It was a couple of years later, I met someone who knew the mother of the man and told me about it. And it was exact fit for what I was going through. So that night I had an experience with angels. Angels came to see me and told me that I could leave if I wanted to, but if I wanted to stay, they would be with me. They would send me a helper. They would help me out. And it absolutely came true. And then I want to just buzz forward to between 2013 and 2015 is when I started experiencing ET contact while I was asleep. And at first I thought I was just having these really vivid dreams, but there was so much information. I started receiving downloads. I knew I wasn't imagining it. And I kind of didn't do a lot with it. I did process the download, which is how I got the Quantum Health Transformation Program, which is my free online course that's free to anybody. Just visit my website, or it's also on my YouTube channel. And then it wasn't until late 2017 I got the call, Karen, you got to come out and start telling people. I was terrified, because, people kind of, their first reaction is that I'm a crazy person, and nobody likes to be treated like that. It's very disrespectful. But I had to do it. I was compelled to do it. So that's basically, and that's what the book is about. That was one. So I didn't go to a specific off world, like a planet, and I wasn't picked up in a spaceship, but I had a consciousness transfer while I was asleep. And the time, there's a huge differential in time. So even though I experienced this every night for about 3 months of our Earth time, I was actually gone and experienced while I was there more like 3 years of experiences. And so that's why I'm also putting my book together, publishing my book, hopefully between now and the conference, and if not shortly thereafter, because I want people to hear about these amazing, amazing experiences. And I was transported to an enormous ship. Excuse me, the ship was probably bigger than the United States, probably bigger than continental North America, just massive. And it just stays in space. It doesn't go to a particular planet where it's its docking port or anything like that. It stays in space. And the beings that are on board have emigrated and emigrated from there to other ships and other communities, and they live in space all the time. And they're very mixed race. We're all basically humanoids, and we're all part of the same species, but we're different family lines. And the kind of diversity that I saw on the ship was very similar to the kind of diversity that we see here on Earth, with a couple little surprises. So come to the conference and hear more about that. So the thing about ET or interdimensional or spiritual contact is it's pretty much never consistent. Although I am tapped in and connected all the time, I can go for what I would call a dry spell, where I could go for 2 weeks or even 6 months where I'm not really getting anything significant. Then it starts coming in when the time is right or when I really need it. And often the problem is that I forget to ask. I get so caught up in my worldly issues that I sometimes think that, I can't be bothering these amazing beings for this stuff. But actually, the truth of the matter is they're here all the time, and we have to ask them in, or they can't be here. They can't help unless we invite them in. So that's the other thing. So it requires, conquering our fears and a lot of our own distorted thoughts and realities, because we've all been raised in this construct that isn't real. Oh, we're taught it's real, and we're taught that all these spiritual experiences are not real. So it's quite interesting. It's the other way around. Everything on Earth is pretty much an inversion of what's real. But I want to talk a bit about what happened to me, I would say, in the last month. So I tend to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I take my role as a light worker very, very seriously. And I've devoted my whole life to being a light worker. All my best energy, everything goes into the shows and my book and reproducing the downloaded information, stuff like that. So anyway, I was in my bed laying there and kind of meditating, and all of a sudden I got this amazing kind of a download. And the message was very simple, but very distinct. It was, stop trying to do this alone. None of us are alone. That is an illusion. We are so connected. And as Chris was saying, to all kinds of beings, we have our choice. So like in the beginning, I felt safer with angels and with fairies. And then I felt safer, with my ET brothers and sisters. And so again, I want to reiterate what Chris's experience says is that we're not alone. We have so much help, and you can ask for proof. There's nothing wrong with asking for proof. And then I got another little download. I'm just checking my notes because I don't want to forget anything important. And it was about not worrying. So what happened is then I had a paranormal experience where my dad, who has passed away, came to me, and he was right close in front of me, and he was really trying to give me a strong message. And I couldn't understand what he was saying. I couldn't seem to get the message. He didn't seem to be able to break through. And so I said to my guides, I really want to know what my dad was telling me, but I didn't get it. So Dad, if you're out there, or, well, of course you're out there, but I often say if you're out there, because I don't really know physically where are they. They're here, but they're also not here, right? And I said, I need you to tell me a different way because I didn't get your message. So anyway, I was meditating. It always seems to happen when I'm meditating. So I was meditating, and all of a sudden my guides came through, and it was very, very beautiful. And they just said to me that I need to stop worrying. I need to actually, when I catch myself worrying, I need to just stop and say, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I need to connect with them and keep that connection as open as I can so that I can get tapped into that amazing flow. And if any of you have been in the flow, it's amazing. It's like time is different. Everything is different. Everything just falls into place the way it's meant to be. And so I was told that there was a plan in place and we don't have to worry and we don't have to, it's not my job to, make sure that people take care of their health. It's not my job to even run around being a political activist if I don't feel comfortable doing that. Anything, basically, it's all being taken care of, and the best thing I could do is to take care of myself. So the next day I went and I had one of my baths. I love the baths because it really is much easier to make contact when you're in a nice bath with lots of salts like Epsom salts and sea salt and essential oils or whatever you want to put in there. So anyway, so I was in there and was having my bath, and my guide is so cute. My guides are sometimes kind of cheeky. They said, so Karen, what are you going to do with all this extra time that you have on your hands now that you're not worrying and trying to save the world? And I went, what's the right answer? I said, take better care of myself. And they went, bingo, you got it. It means more long baths, more naps, more nice cups of tea cuddled up with my kitty cat. This is the most powerful work that we could be doing right now. And it was like kind of a surprise, but a good surprise. And then, okay, I had one other experience. Oh my God, this one just happened to me a couple of days ago. And it was when I had woken up. So I just had a good night's sleep. So I wasn't tired. I wasn't half asleep. And I had this vision, and it was of a very complicated graph. And there were all these different points and lines connecting points. There was just a ton of them on this graph. And each line was a different color. And I looked at it and I went, what are these? And my guide said, these are timelines. These are the timelines that are sort of competing in our, what we would consider the right here and the right now. Some of them were broken. Some of them didn't even start until a few years in the future. And some of them were of what we're going through right now. Now, the one that depicted what we're going through politically on Earth today was in red, and it had very high peaks. So I saw the points charted from last year, and the peaks were pretty high. And then I saw the ones for this year, and the peaks are even higher. So that means things are going to get worse before they get better. But it's actually none of our business what's going on because it's being taken care of. It doesn't mean that we don't make good decisions. We do. But anyway, then it goes up even more after 2021. And then, boom, it ends. It ends so fast, like you can't believe that it's over. Now, the reason it was red is because it was indicating that during this time, we need to especially take care of our adrenal glands and our parasympathetic nervous system, which means, again, nice long hot baths, relaxation, meditation, good food, stay away from drama. I mean, sometimes it hits all of us and we have to deal with shit because that's part of being human. But there's a certain amount of drama we can actually just give it the swerve, step back from and say, no, I'm not playing that game. I know what that game is. That game is to get me strung out, low frequency energy, burnt out, thinking that I have to do it all by myself. And so this timeline is an indicator that we need to take exquisite care of the body temple. And it will end, and it's not going to be that long. You'd be surprised. Like I know a year or 2 years seems like a long time for some people, but when you get older, it's like what a month used to be, or sometimes even seems super short. And so it's really important. So again, all of our downloads are telling us that we need to trust that there are other forces that are here to assist, that we need to ask them to come in to our lives and make room for them and work on ourselves so that we can have a better fit. And so it's really important to take care of your parasympathetic nervous system. Now, your parasympathetic, okay, it's your sympathetic nervous system that puts you into fight or flight. It gives you anxiety, that gives you depression, all those kind of things. Your parasympathetic nervous system is the one that helps you to relax, to breathe deeply into the pit of your stomach, to sleep well, to be calm, all that kind of stuff. Now, your parasympathetic nervous system is also tied into the vagal nerve system. I'm not going to explain all this. You can go out and do your research and figure it out, because the information is available for everyone. And your vagal nervous system, and that's all tied into your endocannabinoid system. And your endocannabinoid system is because the body produces cannabinoids identical to what's in cannabis. But sometimes when we've been under a lot of stress and our health has had some hits, we don't produce enough. And that's why people often use cannabis medicinally. But I'm not trying to be on a soapbox about any of this. I'm not trying to tell you should all be running out and buying weed. I'm not going to do that. But I am saying whatever it takes for you to calm down that system so you can be in your parasympathetic nervous system. That's where you heal. That's where ET and interdimensional contact is so much easier, because we're able to listen. We're not all strung out and fight or flight or freeze and fawn, depending on how you react to trauma. And it's a really, really important message for this time in our lives. Chris, do you have any questions or anything you want to add to any of this?
No, but I do like your experience where they said that you stop worrying and take better care of yourself, because when you can take worrying out of the equation, it's a blessing. I mean, it's like everything else is so much easier. And I'm still working to try and do that myself, just let everything else go and stop stressing, and just know that it'll be okay as long as I'm doing my part and the right thing, that everything else will kind of take over and do it for me. But it's hard to let go of that, but I think that is a very important thing. If we can let go of that and just know that if we're doing the right thing and doing our part, that it will help us out, and they will help us out. The universe will just respond and kind of take you where you need to go. And I think that was a good message.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Thank you. The other thing I want to say is I get quite a lot of visions, and a vision is just happens in a flash, but it's got a lot that I can unpack, and over time I may even have more learning from a vision. One of them was that the universe and everything in it, seen and unseen, is very much like a massive, complicated watch with all the little, well, at least the old school watches, with all the little gears that are interconnected, and everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to happen. And so we have free will, so we can take all of that that's going on and going to happen the way it is. And we also have some creative room for some fun, to experiment and try new things, and basically just you try something new, and it's like a big experiment. That didn't go as well as I thought. Next time I'll do it again, but I'll do it this way differently, that kind of thing. And life can really become quite a bit of fun. And another thing, my dear friend, Susan Blocker, who we had on the show last time, she always tells me, Karen, everything is being looked after. You don't have to worry about anything. And she's been a really, really great support. There's something else she said that I wanted to tell you. Just disappeared from my memory. I'm sorry, folks.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I have a question from the audience.
Wonderful.
Great Minds Think Alike asked, just off the cuff, why do we have deja vu in your viewpoint? That I don't think I'd be able to answer, but you have any thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. Because first of all, we exist in many different dimensional realities. The multiverse is well known. And the other part of that is that we're precognitive. And I'm very precognitive, but sometimes what I see is 10 years down the road. I never know when it's going to happen. I just know when it happens. Interestingly, there's a show on Netflix called Dirk Gently Holistic Detective Agency. And at first it's annoying because it doesn't make any sense. But as you watch, as the episodes unfold, it's really quite amazing how they get into the really deep stuff about time and was this meant to happen or not meant to happen. So getting back to Deja Vu, we already know what's in our future. We already know, and then there are the other realities and the other universes in the multiverse where we're doing the same thing but differently someplace else. And I think it all comes together in us, in our subconscious, we know. So I'll give you an example. They did experiments with people where they sat in a chair and they showed them on a screen pictures. And they were randomly shuffled. And some of the pictures or images were disturbing, and some of them were very comforting, and some of them were very neutral. And the person who was watching the images come up on the screen didn't know what was coming. But they were hooked up to, EEG and sensors on their fingers and their pulse and their heart and all that. And their body clearly knew ahead which image was going to be next. So we all have ESP. We all have telepathy capabilities. We're wired already for all of this. We've just been told it's not real, and we haven't been encouraged to develop it and use it. And so when we have deja vu, we go, oh my God, I've been here before. Maybe it's you in another universe that's doing the same thing or did it last week. Or maybe it's just you knowing that something is going to happen, and then it happens and you go, oh my God, I had this happen to me before. So if you're experiencing deja vu, I think it goes quite a lot like if you're experiencing intuition. It's another tool that we've been given so that we can orient ourselves and be able to decipher what's bullshit and what's real for us. So I think it's a really good sign if you're experiencing deja vu. I don't know if you would agree with any of that, Chris.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me. I haven't really had any deja vu experiences lately in a long time, actually, but that makes sense. It's very interesting.
Yeah, deja vu and synchronicities are kind of like heads up.
Plenty of synchronicities, yeah.
Yeah, tap in, and yeah, you have quite a few of those. Actually gets weird after a while, especially if you're in the flow. If you tap into the flow, you can see how everything's connected. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's all the questions we have for now.
Okay. So that's all I have for today. But before our closing announcements, just want to see if there's anyone else that pops in. Or Chris, do you have anything you want to add today?
No, I just think that the main things we need to focus on right now are, first, there's no one that is on this planet that is going to save us but ourselves. But we have help, and it's not the kind of help that we might have wanted, but it's there. It's our spirit guides. It's these interdimensional beings that actually care about humanity for whatever reason, but they do, and they're there for us. And not they won't solve our problems for us, but they will help us understand so we can solve our problems for ourselves and kind of take back control of our lives, and then we can branch out and take back control of this planet and take back control to the people from these psychopaths that are trying to basically kill us all right now. It's we're in a very critical time, and we're the only ones that can stop it. But we have friends. We have friends in very high places.
We sure do. And I got to tell you, for a long time, I kept asking for proof because I had a hard time separating from myself from the concept that maybe I was crazy and imagining it. And I always ask for proof, and I always get it. And some of it's ridiculous, and some of it's really easy, and some of it's really profound. One day I asked for a sign. I said, I'm having doubts. Can I have a sign? I really need one. And I was leaving a building, and a man was walking in the building. And all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, you're Johnny Cash. And he looked at me and he didn't say anything. Obviously, it wasn't the real Johnny Cash because he's passed away. He reached in his pocket, he pulled out a business card, and his name is Bobby Cash, and he's a Johnny Cash impersonator. There's no way I
Wow.
could have known that, Chris. There's no way
That's
I could
cool.
have planned that he was coming in as I was going out. So,
Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah, it is crazy, but enjoy it. At first, it's a bit freaky, but once you
Yeah.
get into it, it's really quite lovely. And I think the other really important thing here is to bring the love back. And so love is an action word. Love doesn't mean, oh, I really like that person and I want to have sex with them. No, love means patience, mildness, kindness, all kinds of things, self-control, learning how to self-regulate, learning how to self-soothe. That's as important a component of love as loving other people. And as we start to soften and love each other, we're bringing back a resonant frequency, I think, that is going to be more powerful than even going out and protesting. I know I've done a lot of protesting. The power of love, I think that it's really important to remember how important that is. Anyway, so that's about all I have to say. I did have something else and I forgot, so I'll have to save it till next time.
Yeah, well, it'll pop up next time.
Yeah. So I just want to just go over what we offer and what to expect. So our Forbidden Transformation with Karen and Chris shows are every 2 weeks. So, and they're always on a Sunday at 12 noon Pacific, 1 o'clock Mountain, 3 o'clock Eastern time, and on this YouTube channel. And you can check out the consultation support services that Chris and I offer from my website. I mean, even if you're not interested in buying them, please do go and check them out. It's at www.karenholtonhealthcoach.com. That's KARENHOLTON healthcoach.com. And we now have a Forbidden Transformation Facebook group, and we offer private peer-to-peer support. So if you're not already a member, please look us up, and you have to ask to be admitted, and then we'll let you in. And we're also looking for moderators because we want to make sure there's no shenanigans and no put downs and none of that. We just want to be supporting. And I want to thank everyone for their emails. I do my very best to respond to each and every one. And if you'd like to contact us, our email is forbiddentransformation@gmail.com. Our next show, Forbidden Transformation, episode 13, will be another interactive show. And we're going to have on a couple of guests who have worked very hard at producing websites that are there, ready and ready to go for anybody who starts to open up spiritually. So it doesn't matter what your belief system is. It doesn't matter, what your religious beliefs are. It doesn't matter any of that. Just if you check out these websites, you can go to them and get tons and tons of free resources. They will orient you on where to go for what you might need. Just a wealth of information. So we're going to have them on as guests, at least 2 people, and then we're going to screen share and we're going to get tours of their websites. So you can see what's available. And also myself, my website, I have a huge section called free resources also available. And so that's what we're going to do. I do have one other thing. I remembered what I wanted to say earlier. I'm just going to throw it in now, is universal consciousness, which can be referred to as God or as the universe or whatever your belief system calls it. It's available to you at your present state of consciousness. So you don't have to join a club. You don't have to join a religion. You don't have to join a political party. You don't have to do anything. What Chris and I have been talking about today is available for everybody at your present state of consciousness. It will resonate with you and guide you and sustain you where you are right now. You're good enough just as you are right now. That's all I have today. How about you, Chris? Are you all?
That's a perfect to finish up. Thank you all for coming out and watching, and please tune in for the replay once Karen has the recorded version up there. And check out Forbidden Knowledge News and Beyond Classified on Rockfin, and also get your tickets to Forbidden Knowledge News Con 2021. That's you can get those at forbiddenknowledge.news. And until next time, everyone, have a great day.
Yes, and we both wish you much light, love, and happiness.